My question to you is, ma'am, we have made this graphic, Jaishankar in between, BRICS and UNGA, the delicate balancing act. Is this what we are thinking, madam, to balance our priorities?
Well, I think that India is signaling an effort at rebalancing its relationships with the great powers without seeking friction or disruption with the United States. I think our policy with the US at this point is no confrontation and no capitulation either. So it's a very delicate balancing act. There have been some positive messages exchanged between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi, which provide an opening. But we have to see whether this opening leads to re-engagement on trade and investment issues, because right now, the Trump administration still maintains its tariffs on India and is also now talking about secondary sanctions on Russia as well.
Ambassador, how can India sustain its West plus Rest approach?
Well, I think the unpredictability of US policy, which actually has been seeking to also force India to choose sides, has reinforced India's need for global space. And in fact, made everybody aware that it's not a very good idea to be over-dependent on any one country or economy. So, in fact, it's had the obverse impact of what the US probably thought it would.
But Ambassador Shankar, the political attitude which the Indians have seen in last 4 or 5 months, in your assessment, is it the attitude shift in the capital in general, or is it very, very specific to Trump as a president, ma'am?
At the moment, I would say it's very specific to Trump as a president, because the larger foreign policy establishment, the larger business establishment in the US has underlined the need for good relations with India. And in fact, there's been some criticism, say from former National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, or even from Nikki Haley, Trump's own opponent for the Republican Party nomination as the presidential candidate, about not pushing India towards China or losing India. And you've seen Trump himself ruminating on this, saying, we've lost Russia and India to deepest, darkest China or whatever. The point is, for India, we really have areas of convergence with the US, but equally, there are areas where our approaches are different, and they flow both from our geographical and geopolitical location, surrounded by China, Pakistan, and Russia at, 1 or 2 removed. And on the other hand, from the varied levels of economic development. We are a developing country. The US is a developed nation and the largest economy in the world. So naturally, there are areas where we are not going to see eye to eye with the United States. But it's not something which is really anti-Americanism. Though at the moment, I think if the Trump administration keeps, making this high level of anti-Indian rhetoric, it will inflame public opinion in India, or at least it has the potential to inflame public opinion in India.
Okay, now let me play out one more bite of Foreign Minister S Jaishankar during his inaugural address at the BRICS.
The working of international organizations in the last few years has witnessed major shortfalls in many areas. On key issues, we have unfortunately seen that gridlocks have undermined the search for common ground. These experiences have only made the case for reformed multilateralism generally, and that of the United Nations and its Security Council specifically, more urgent. The BRICS have taken a positive view of this need for reform, and we expect that it would collectively become a strong voice for much awaited change.
Ambassador Shankar, you were talking about the criticism which the United States President had, but do you think it stands for anything in context of the MAGA support which Trump enjoys in America right now, ma'am?
Yes, Trump's constituency, which is MAGA, has a protectionist and racist point of view. And their initial target was China. But if you look at the anti-immigrant feeling, that has been spilling over to India in certain MAGA constituencies. So it does, especially since the US has not been able to actually implement the kind of very tough position that they wanted to adopt on China in the beginning.